Hello, hashtag First TV family, and welcome. It's week 185. I'm Aaron Mack, and I will pass the torch to Basic Complexity to take it away with our songs for the week. Basic Complexity, it's on you, friend.
Uh, um, first, uh, first off, how's everybody doing? Um, I'm Basic Complexity, aka Kevin, whatever you wanna go by. Alright, so what I'm doing this week, I'm gonna name my fairly old school song first. And that is actually the song that I still love. This is For the Lover in You by Shalimar. The song, when I was a kid, I used to hear my mom play this song often. I just automatically liked it. I didn't know who it was. I just liked the song. Um, and doing research, the original song was released in 1981 and then was remade or remixed or both by Babyface in 1996. And I love that version also because it features LL Cool J.
Absolutely. There are a lot of songs that can be like that, particularly from childhood, you know?
Yes.
Yes, sir. All right. I didn't cut you off, did I?
No, no.
All right. My older song, our friends at EDS, Everything and Then Some podcast, actually gave a post earlier this week, or well, today is Monday, so I guess it was last week or so, that featured none other than one of my favorite songs, my love songs. And I was like, oh my gosh, how dare I call myself a stan and not have said any songs by her yet. So you all know where I'm going. I only stand for one, and that is Whitney Houston. And it was her 2002 song, One of Those Days, which is actually one of my favorite songs by Whitney Houston and one of my favorite songs like ever. And that entire album, the Just Whitney album, is excellent. And it's that song, One of Those Days, is it's not like her I Have Nothing, like power ballads like that. But it was just a really cool in the pocket song, you know, and I dig it and love it. And also the year Whitney Houston came out with the Just Whitney album with that song was the year that she turned 39. And this is the year that I've turned 39. So yay, thumbs up. Anyway, all right. Basically, I'm playing your new song.
Alright, so my, well, once again, fairly new school song is actually the song. It's a rap by Mariah Carey featuring Mary J. Blige. Now, this song was on the deluxe version of Mariah Carey's 2014 album, Me, I Am Mariah, the Elusive Chanteuse. The song is basically a remix or part two, I don't know the difference, of the original song. Just it's a rap from her 2010 Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel album. Um, I haven't quite figured out how to dress the song either as a part two or remix.
See, that's why or part of the reason that we're friends, because you can go back in that depth with those songs like that. Because yes, I was listening, I was like, oh, I hope he gives the Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel reference as well, because you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. But anyway, I won't take up all my time. But you're absolutely right. My newish song goes back to 2012, which is the oldest year that we can classify as our newish songs. And once again, I'm in my 2012 bag. That was the year before I turned 30. Anyway, but it's El Varner's music. I was having I had my music on shuffle, and it came up with El Varner's song "Refill," and I it was actually recently my first time falling in love with that song. I did not love it when it was brand new. I didn't like it at all. I fell in love with her um what is it called? EP that she had? No, her mixtape that she had. And I fell in love with a version of Refill that was on the mixtape, but I did not love the original version of Refill. But now I love the original version of Refill as well. That song is excellent. And I had it on repeat so much. And yeah, yeah, the musical complexities and everything. And the mixtape, by the way, was her mixtape Conversational Lush, because she says conversational lush a lot in the Refill song. Feeling like a conversational lush. And that's excellent. So let's get this show on the road, shall we, friend?
All right.
All right. Oh, no. Not yet. I have to name the topics for the week.
Uh,
And the topics are hashtag VerseTV 185A, time for a change, coming from at indescribable. Hashtag VerseTV 185B, gains from splits, coming from at Out Magazine, at Entertainment Tonight, hashtag Homo's Talk Show, hashtag VerseTV 185C, not now, coming from at Samuel Levon, hashtag VerseTV 185D, coming, and that's going to be another hashtag T wants for real, T wants FR, and that's from the Jacked app. At Jacked app is their Instagram. So now, are we ready to get this show on the road, friend?
let's go.
Let's do this. Hashtag VerseTV 185A, time for change. At indescribable.
I would really love to work at this school. I just have a few questions. So y'all want me to instruct the class, handle distractions and unruly students, and possibly fight off an active shooter for $32,000 a year. Y'all finna have to find somebody else, ain't it? I know it. Listen, real quick, I would be a much happier teacher if you would just double my salary and give us some more resources for the classroom. That would be great.
Oh, right. Now, I will go first for this one, and then we'll switch back and forth. All right.
All right.
So, yes, sadly, my initial reaction. Oh, I got to get a timer. I'm sorry, you guys. It's our first time being live on www.versetv.com. I'm so afraid. No, I'm kidding. But my initial reaction is sadly that's facts, and particularly facts about teachers being underpaid, particularly in public schools. And I get it though, because there are many arms to the octopus that is why we have this conundrum, seemingly apparent conundrum. But I get it that school funding comes from community taxes, and low income communities have lower funding because they have less taxes, hence lower income. And my connection, I wish there was a better way. And I know that people have tried charter schools, or not have tried as if that's a thing of the past, but people are working with charter schools. I don't know if it's enough, but it's my understanding some people are trying to rig that in a negative way as well. So that's not real. There are troubles there. And I have a memory back when I was in college in my at Howard. We went to, I don't remember where the school was, but it was somewhere in Northern Virginia. And they were talking about how it was the wealthiest, or at least one of the wealthiest school districts in the country, public school districts in the country, because, Northern Virginia, people have money. And they were talking about how in this school, in that school district, teachers are actually paid, even public school teachers are paid very well. Students are provided with so much stuff. So it's like, what can you do? Like, what's the solution? I don't know. And yeah, indescribable is right. Teachers must do a lot. And she's like, you want me to fight off an active shooter for $32,000 a year? And she's like, I know it, you know. Anyway, but she's funny. Yeah. Ultimately, we fall behind in the global race because of our poor education for our children, and our children are mainly being prepared to work for somebody else, not to be an entrepreneur. And that stuff like that, I get it. I get it. But stuff like that is part of the reason that we fall behind. And yeah, basic complexity.
Okay. After hearing this, I'm fully aware that is a joke, but at the same time, it's also very true. Um, my reaction is pretty much the same as hers. Teachers do not get paid anywhere near what they should be getting paid. And that's a fact. My best friend was a classroom teacher, and I remember him telling me the difficulties they go through and the fact that they had to come out of their pocket with their teeny amount of money they make. Then they had to turn around and buy supplies, which I don't get. Um, and I just feel like politicians really need to sit down and seriously think about the situations they're placing teachers in, while our education system overall these days is starting to become a joke or seem like a joke. It's nowhere near what it used to be. Um, and how about actually funding our education system instead of the consistent wars we are in, which seem kind of pointless to me. Just my opinion,
Oh,
and that's what I.
okay. So I will take a 1 minute and then I'll close with my sentence. And I will say, yeah, basic complexity. You bring up a really good point that I didn't get a chance to touch on. Yeah, like in the poorer schools, they do have less money. So as I was listening to you say it, I was like, yeah, they have less money, so that's part of the reason they can't pay. But it also comes down to an issue of what are our priorities for spending the money that we do get. So that's a thing. And I still remember when former President Obama first went into office, how he explained that, there are so many different viewpoints and so many different people have opposing views with very valid perspectives. Like it's hard to be the president who has to make the decision to do this or that because both sides have valid points. So I get that. So it seems like, oh well, there's just an easy solution if you would just stop doing this and start doing that. I remember what President Obama said. Anyway, my one sentence is drum roll, please. I'm kidding. Just like Transformers in the 80s and 90s, I think that there is more than meets the eye. More than just, wait a minute. Sorry. My one sentence is, I take notes, you guys. Sorry. Anyway, and there's no editing at this point, so whatever. But I believe the children are the future. Teach them well the right way and let them lead the way. That's my thing. Basic complexity, your 1 minute and or sentence.
Well, I'll just say my one very short sentence thing is kind of straight to the point. Let's in general give our teachers all the support they need because we really aren't doing anything.
All right. Now let's move on to the next one. Share, subscribe, and share, please, and thank you. Hashtag VerseTV185B. Gains from splits. At Out Magazine. At Entertainment Tonight. Candace Cameron Bure says her holiday movies won't have LGBTQ plus love. Out Magazine.
Actress Candace Cameron Bure is speaking out on the firestorm over her words wanting to keep traditional marriage at the core of her network's holiday movies.
Our words matter.
In a lengthy statement this afternoon, Candace didn't explain why Great American Family won't feature same-sex couples, but said, quote, "I am called to love all people, and I do," adding, "I had also expressed in my interview, which was not included, that people of all ethnicities and identities have and will continue to contribute to the network in great ways, both in front of and behind the camera, which I encourage and fully support." Hollywood is already taking sides. One Tree Hill and Hallmark star Hillary Burton called Candace a bigot. JoJo Siwa, who famously called Candace the rudest celebrity she ever met, said it's rude and hurtful to a whole community of people. Candace's Fuller House co-star Jodie Sweetin weighed in, commenting on JoJo's post. "You know I love you."
Let's go get some juice. I don't want any juice.
Jodie took it a step further and seemed to shade Candace, urging support on Instagram for the Respect for Marriage Act, which would protect same-sex unions.
All right, basic complexity.
All right. After hearing this, I can say that I actually have lost even more respect for Candace Cameron. Is that you, right?
Beret. Hmm.
Right. All right. I knew I was gonna butcher that name. Um, because in a family movie is just that, a family movie. Um, I understand that she is a very conservative woman, but she really needs to join the majority now, but majority of us in the 21st century, um, and let go of her archaic ancient beliefs. And that's what I have.
Okay. I will say my initial reaction is, why would she? Candace Cameron Bure, why? And huh, I remember, and this is sort of more of a connection. I remember years ago, a boyfriend of mine tried to get us to watch Fuller House. Tried to get Fuller House to be that thing that we watch. It didn't happen though. But my other connection to it, honestly, as a female CEO, and yes, she is a female CEO, I was rooting for her. But I have to ask, why would she do that? Why would she say that? You know? And you can feel that way politically yourself. You can think that way. You, but don't speak it. Just like so many others, feel that way, think that way, but don't actually do it. You shouldn't say that. But I realize in a capitalist society and where money is very much a motivation, asking asking why would somebody make try to duplicate the same mistake that Chick-fil-A made mistake Chick-fil-A made, you know but the is it really a mistake by polarizing people on such a hot issue? Because what will happen, yeah, it can ostracize some people, like hashtag first TV as same gender loving people, but it can also make um yeah, and same gender loving people and allies. But it could also increase the passion and dedication of others to that channel. So just like Chick-fil-A, there are some people out there who, because he came out and was like, I'm not, no pun intended, I'm not favor of the homosexual, whatever, there are people who are extra dedicated to making sure that they always buy something at Chick-fil-A just for that purpose. And I'm sure there are people who will also say, you know what? We must watch this, whatever that channel is. We must watch this channel because she is fighting for our cause, and they will be extra dedicated to making sure that they turn on that channel and get that money, because that increased passion and dedication equals increased ratings. I know about ratings, and ratings equal increased money. I'll save the rest for my 1 minute. Basic complexity.
All right, so yeah, I guess I'm on my 1 minute now.
Yes.
Um, basically, I would say don't cut people off because of your religious beliefs. Um, remember that some of our best work has been created by the LGBTQ community.
All right.
And that's what I have.
And your one sentence? Or was that the one sentence?
That was.
Okay. I will take my 1 minute, followed by my one sentence. Yes. It's funny you bring up the religious purposes that people have, because what I didn't include in the video, because I felt kind of uncomfortable including the thing talking about what her daughter said, but I think her daughter is probably grown or whatever, and she's in the show with her or whatever. Her daughter said that it's because of her mother, Candace Cameron's religious faith passion. And she said, "We will pass." Yeah. Yeah, because she was like, her mom is so dedicated, and this was her quote, so dedicated to Jesus that she must be that. I anyway, I'm mad that was anyway, but yeah. So yes, because of her mom's dedication in that direction, that's why she's so anti. And it's like, I am so tired of people using Jesus as their reason for their closed minded ignorance. And I ask, when will people stop doing that? And how people use that as like, well, because like in the second part of the video, Candace Cameron Bure was like, I love everybody, you know, but they just they can be on camera too. They just can't play gay on camera. Like, shut up. Anyway, my one sentence is, shut up, please, ma'am. My one sentence is, now, just like the Transformers in the 80s and the 90s, I think that there is more than meets the eye, more than just religious motive. And in the words of acclaimed ethno-philosopher P. Diddy, it's all about the Benjamins, in my opinion. I'm sorry. I think that's I think it's safe to say that it's all about the Benjamins in that case. Anyway, all right. Our next topic is hashtag VerseTV185C. Not now. At Samuel Levon.
I've said to myself, like, even when I do lose this weight, I've said, I am not going to be with anyone who would not date me when I didn't have a body that wasn't desirable. You know, I've been honest, I'm like, I'm gonna keep me a picture of myself as when I was bigger, and I'm gonna ask, would you date that guy? And if the answer is no, I'm not dating them. There's gonna be no, like, I just don't want to be with someone just because they think my body looks good. Because when I get older, none of us are gonna be walking around here with a six pack at fucking 80 years old. I mean, like, and if you do, well, kudos to you.
all right. So, my initial reaction is to put the time on the clock. My initial reaction is it's so interesting when people who, in my opinion, are so very attractive have trouble finding people who are into them. And my connection, there are some people who tell me that I'm quite attractive, but I don't seem to see the people who feel that way in my personal travels. But that reminds me of when a former mental health counselor of mine told me that due to a few bad encounters that I've had in my life during times that I've attempted to make it happen with somebody, due to those few bad encounters, I just sort of group everybody in that negative box. I subconsciously put everybody in the box of, oh, well, they don't want me. They won't like me, And when my counselor said that, I was like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. Anyway, but my second connection is in relation to him talking about his weight loss and the fact that he won't deal with people who didn't like him before. I felt similarly in relation to my MS situation and how I currently use a walker and blah, blah, blah. But I'm working on rebuilding. And I was like, well, anybody who had a problem with me when I had a walker before, when I no longer need this walker, because it will happen, amen, I will not deal with somebody like that. But I've heard an alternative opinion on that whole situation. And I was talking with a friend of mine who's a little overweight, a full dude, if you will. And he was talking about how when it came to love, like finding love, if somebody turned, and he's working on losing weight, he's in the gym working on losing weight. And he's like, when it comes to love, if it's somebody that he pursued, and he rarely pursues somebody, if it's somebody that he would pursue, he would not give that second chance. And he said it depends on how they rejected me. And he spoke about a bartender um, some time ago that he was into, and he was with his friend, and his friend was drunk, and the bartender was into his friend and not to him, but he didn't realize it. So dang it. Okay, basic complexity. Well, yeah, go ahead. I'll save it for the 1 minute plus.
Okay. I would say that this really plays to a much well-known statement, which more or less states that if you could not rock with me during the difficult times, then you definitely don't need to be with me during the good times. That's a unnecessary weight that needs to be cut loose. And that's what I have.
So he also mentioned, and this is true in the cases of people in general, and by the we all have our issues, right? And what about the potential to revert, like after losing all the weight in the gym and being like, I'm fine now, or in my case, or a person's case, formerly using a walking assistant device and then no longer needing it, but then needing it again. It's like different people have different journeys, okay? And I get that. And you just have to try your best in life. We're all on different journeys. Try your best to do your best. And if it's somebody who you didn't connect with, they probably weren't the one for you. So good riddance, goodbye. And my one sentence, I will say, we are all imperfect humans working to our light. And we all have our own journeys. Basic complexity, what's your 1 minute?
Um, Mine is one thing to remember is that the person that you step on today could more or less be your boss tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Oh, right. And now for the tea he wants for real. And you'll start with that, and you're going to start with your um, star rating, one sentence, and then you'll go on to the other parts, likes and dislikes, and conclusion. And here
Um,
we go. Hashtag
um,
VerseTV 185D. Hashtag He Wants FR. At Jacked App. 38 years old, single, black, 5 feet 8 inches, 167 pounds. I am guy next door. I am into military, discreet, guys next door. I am open to friendships, random play NSA, dates. My sex preferences and safety practices. Top. Condoms, let's talk. What I do. Professional dude. With my own job, place, and money. You should have the same. Not looking to give out money. Buy you anything. Please be sane, and we can go from there. I am a top. What I am looking for. Someone cool, calm, and collected. Friends with benefits. Some consistent friends. Maybe more. Sexual health. Status negative. Last tested December 2020. Base complexity, it's on you, friend. The star rating with the one sentence.
I have to start writing. I definitely have to start writing. Um, Not only have I sent out likes and dislikes. Okay. Well, all right. Yeah, I'll go with that. Um, the star rating, both the profile and his looks, I will honestly give him a 4, which is really good. Um, and overall, I personally think that in general, he seems like a very cool, just chill dude. That's what I have.
Your likes and dislikes, two likes, two dislikes.
Um, ooh, and I only have really one like and one dislike.
Yeah, one to
Um,
two.
so
It's 1 to 2, so that's fine.
yeah. As far as likes, I like the fact that he's straightforward, that he is looking for friends or friends with benefits. We know what that means. Um, Dislikes. One of my dislikes was was when it was last tested, and I'm simply making a point. He said December 2020. It's about to be December 2022. So, what you been doing the last 2 years? I don't know. And just also that it's nothing major, but I have a slight concern about that. I mean, unless he's been like living his life as a monk or something. I, mm, I would say I have a slight concern about that. And that's it.
Oh, right. And that's the overall conclusion.
Yes.
So for me, I will say I give him a 3-star rating. And I mean, he's cute or whatever in his 1.5 pics, but the woman in the Spike Lee film said, quote, I'm too old for children's games, end quote. And I like that he called himself the guy next door. And I also like that he's like, I don't give out money because I don't want to say I feel the same way like I'm rich. I'm not yet. Not yet. What is rich? Anyway, um, I agree though because I've dealt with people when they try to just use you for your money or use you for whatever you have, and that's not cool. So I appreciate the fact that he's like, I'm not into that. I'm not into that either. Right on. And my dislikes, I dislike that it seems like he's not really looking for any kind of relationship, but I particularly don't like where he gave the whole maybe more thing. Like, so let's be friends, maybe more. I kind of personally, just me, kind of really dislike. I almost use the word despise. I don't think it's quite despise, but I really dislike when people do that whole maybe more thing because it's like, what, what are you looking for? And that goes back to my, I don't have time for children's games, and it's like, is that you can't express that ultimately you'd like to find XYZ or what? I don't know. And as for his his half photo, where he wore his big, huge sunglasses that cover like half of his face, that's why I'm like, I don't count that as a full photo. And he seems to be mainly into hookups, and and people can want what they want, but in the words of country diva legend Shania Twain, that don't impress me much. Period. Okay. Basic complexity. Do you want in 1 minute?
No.
All right. So we have come to the close of week 185. Basic complexity. You wanted to speak on something? Give
Um.
X for something?
Yes. In general, just wanna send out my sincere condolences to everyone involved in that. Well, president say recent shooting at a club in Colorado,
Absolutely.
and yeah, just because. really, as of yet, have yet to hear any valid reason why this dude decided to go to a gay club and shoot up.
Don't hold your breath because there never will be a valid reason. Period. There's never a valid
Uh,
reason for any of that. Period.
Good point.
Whether it's a gay club, straight club, whatever, it's never a valid reason. Anyway,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So yes, I initially didn't really want us to talk about it necessarily because it's like there are a lot of horrible things that happen in the world that we don't talk about. So it's like, I don't know. I did want to, but I found a particular motivation to speak about this. I thought about in, I was like, what? I think about myself in my very rare club days back in my 20s
Hmm.
to early 30s. I haven't been to the club in years. I love hearing music though. I love hearing music and grooving to music. Anyway, but I think like, what if it's a person who, like me, when I was 19, the first time I went to a gay club, and I was just so amazed to see everything and everybody just enjoying life, living life, and imagine if, and I think about the Delta, which was a gay club in DC, and the people used to call it the fire trap because it wasn't. Us gay people don't always get the best of accommodations, but sometimes we do. Sometimes we do because town in DC, but that's another story. Anyway, um, they used to call it the fire trap. And I was like, what if I was there? What if, okay, and that's right. I didn't make it about me. I said, what if it's somebody who is particularly religious, right? And they're finally starting to come into accepting their truth as a same gender loving person. And this was their first, and I almost cussed, sorry, but their first time going to a gay club, and they were particularly religious. And I know that happens. I remember, oh man, one time I went to the Delta. I met this dude from my former church while I was at the Delta. He was like, Aaron? I was like, oh, no. But yeah, yes. And what if that time that he was at the club, he was hit by the shooter? And I dislike it particularly when people talk about X number of people were killed, but and I no, I don't dislike it, but it's interesting. X number of people were killed, X number of people were just injured. They were just injured. At least they're alive. And I used to think that. And I would, in my mind, when I would hear stuff like that, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm sure they just went home and put a bandage on the bruise. And, afterwards they got better and things were good. But what you don't hear, and I'll shout out our friend Quincy Keith at the QK, THEQK, and how he was shot by stray bullet and shot, it made it in his spine, and that's the reason that he is paralyzed at this day. And it's like you, you hear about people being injured and it's like great, and I think back to the club thing, and I know I'm about to wrap it up, but I think back to the club thing. What if it was that dude who was particularly religious, right? And he started living his truth, and he was like, you know what, I can be a homosexual man. I love myself now. I'm living my truth now. And he got shot in his spine at the club, and it paralyzed him. So now for the rest of his life, he's going to think, well, me trying to live my truth as a gay, this, oh wow, almost making me cry, but is what put me in this predicament. So I should make sure that's, and they'll believe that that's God's way of telling them that they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have lived their truth. They'll misinterpret things that way.
Mm-hmm.
Basic complexity, I'm sorry. I need a breath.
Not 100%. And yes, people do things just like that. If something, it could be anything, happens, they'll try to use that as a excuse for why they shouldn't have been uh, acknowledging their truth. Um, and they would say, well, if I never did this or never went to this place, this wouldn't have happened. Um, to the best of your knowledge, it wouldn't have happened. You could have been really, seriously, you could have been anywhere, been shot in the back, and then what's your excuse then?
People, I wish we would just live love. We would just all live love. And man, and I'm gonna connect this to Miss Candace Cameron Bure. And I used
Mm.
to watch Full House when I was a kid. I did. You know,
Yeah, I did too.
Miss Candace Cameron Bure and people who spout such things like her and spout them under the guise of, but I love everybody. I love everybody. We are called to love people. I just don't love that part about them, the whole them, but I love them. I just don't love the whole them. Get the F out of here. Because what happens
That
is people who have that, and I'm getting all worked up, but people who have those perspectives and share those perspectives and speak those perspectives on such large platforms, that's what allows, and we don't know his motivation, right? Maybe he went into the club and did it because he was looking for his ex-boyfriend. I don't know, but sometimes that, and sometimes people do stuff like that because they have righteous indignation. They feel that they're doing the right thing because the Bible says if you're gay, you should be stoned to death. My interpretation of the Bible says that. And that's why, and yeah,
oh,
Candace Cameron confirmed my interpretation of the Bible when she said that she loves everybody, but she's not going to allow
but
gay
hold up.
relationships in her program.
You said that key word, but when that's whenever that's used in an argument or whatever, it negates everything you said prior to the word but.
Yeah, everything completely.
Yeah.
It's, I don't, I can be very passionate, as we can tell, but it's like people who attempt to walk that way, and
Yeah.
it's like, what are you talking about? And I particularly dislike it when people put it in the disguise of, or put it under the guise of, well, it's all love. What's your definition of love? And oh, I don't think I got to say that in the Candace Cameron thing. But at the end of the day, how do you define love? What's your definition of love? Would you be okay if somebody loved you like that? Is that how you want to be loved? In
Like
spite of your,
them being like, I love all these things about you, but and then say whatever.
absolutely. It's we need to just live true love, and maybe that's a thing, because I often talk about, as a society, as a globe, we need to live love, but it's like we need to truly live true love, true authentic love for people,
Yeah.
and even I remember the song by Kirk Franklin that quoted from, I don't remember the part of the Bible exactly, but I know it was quoting the definition of love, and that was the those were the lyrics. Love is patient, kind. That's love, and all of these things. Patient, kind, friendly, all of that. Are you being those things? Are you being those things? Anyway, uh,
Actually, Michelle Williams did the something very similar. I think it was on the Destiny's. No, actually, I know for a fact was on Destiny's Child's Survivor album. Near the end, when Michelle Williams was saying, "Love is patient, love is blind," and all the other stuff.
yeah. And again, friend, that's one of the reasons we're friends, that you're able to take it back there. You know what's up. Yeah. You know, I will, since this is a free talk, can I, and I'll save it for a week, and it'll be one of my songs. Anyway, but suffice it to say, hmm, maybe it'll be one of my songs. Anything else, my friend?
um, I don't think so.
Oh, right. And again, this has been week 185. I'm Aaron Mack. You can email me, Aaron Mack at versetv.com. That's AARONMCK at VERSTEAV.com. And you can find Verse TV all over social media. We're an LGBT plus and ally social media millennial collective. Just search hashtag VERSTEAV. You can Google us. You can, like I said last week, being corny, ask Jeeves about us. You can do what? An AOL search? Does AOL still exist?
I think it does.
Really? So,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah. If you want, you can do an AOL search for us. I'm sorry. I am just reveling in my early 80s babiness. Anyway, Basic Complexity. Where can we find you? Basic Complexity at versetv.com and such.
Wow. Okay. Um. Yeah. You said first to be com. Man, I would say basic complexity. Um. Also, on, and not that I really have videos like that on there, but I'm on TikTok also, and that name should be my basic complexity. Yeah. Um, and yeah, other than that, uh, other than that, like Aaron said on versetv.com. And yeah.
Instagram.
So,
Instagram.
oh, yes. Thank you. Because I forgot. Um, Definitely on Instagram. And there I am also just basic complexity. And yeah.
All right. Again, this has been week 185. Thank you all for checking us out. And yeah, thank you for whoever was able to view on the website. Thank you for that as well. We will be live streaming every single Monday. We're Social Media Millennial Collective. Talk to y'all later, social media world. Peace. VerseTV.com. Stay blessed. All right. Have a good night.